Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Joe the Bean Man DeMarini. How we doing today on this Monday here, Joe?
It's a Monday. We have both been struggling today. Sorry we're a little bit late. It's the heat. It's warm again, and I think it's just put everybody into like a bit of a snooze, you know.
Yeah, it's hot. It hasn't rained all month. Feels like the Flyers haven't scored all month. It's been a tough go here.
It's been
At least the Birds won. Birds won yesterday. Got a good win with Saquon Barkley going off against the Giants. So, happy for our Bird fans out there. And also happy to now be live on Twitter and Facebook as well as YouTube. So shout out everyone watching there. We'll be taking comments, questions later in the show. So get there in the chat on YouTube. And we'll see if we're answering your questions. But I mean, I don't know if we need questions here to get this podcast started because there's a lot to talk about.
Well, the Flyers already have a big question, and we'll get to that.
The Flyers have a 6'8" question in net. 6'8" question, but
sure do.
I want to go back to Saturday night. Saturday night, I'm leaving the Farg. I messaged Joe. We might have to talk about this team tomorrow. I need to yell about this team. And then I wake up Sunday, a little bit hungover, and we're not podcasting on Sunday, but like I'm thinking about it more. I'm like, okay, I'm less angry. But then today, again, with the practice lines and Ryan Poehling centering Matvei Michkov, I'm angry again. So there's a lot to go through right there. How are you feeling right now, Joe? What's your? I'm no longer. I wouldn't say angry is my primary emotion right now, but it's up there.
I genuinely don't care. I just don't care. I do not care how the lines change from game to game. If you make a tweak from game to game, whatever. It doesn't bother me. If we're talking again in 3 weeks and Ryan Poehling is still the center for Matvei Michkov, then we've got a problem, and then I'll be angry. But if they just run with this for one game of a back-to-back, I don't care. I don't care. I don't have the energy to be mad about something like that.
That's where I ended up getting to on Sunday. It was frustrating, but it's the Canucks came a win away from making the Stanley Cup final last year. They made the conference final, or they almost took out the Oilers in the semifinal.
The second round, I think.
Yeah, in the second round. But yeah, they pushed the Oilers to the brink there in the playoffs. They're a good hockey team.
The Bobby Brink.
The Bobby Brink, yeah. And, looking back at the past schedule, they played Edmonton tough, the Flames loss and Kraken loss. I say, Flames back-to-back, whatever. Kraken loss is definitely on Fedotov. But, it sucks 1-3-1 through 5 games. It sucks. And the thing that sucks the most is, it was a home opener. All the casuals are out there. Tickets are way jacked up for Michkov's debut there at the Farg. And just came out and just, building was buzzing. First period was good. Got some Let's Go Flyers chance. But then as soon as the Canucks scored that first goal, you felt kind of the air come out and be like, okay, well, the Flyers are still within 1. And then they got booed off the ice out of the first period. Second period, they scored 2 really quickly. And then from there, it's just like, oh, let's see how bad this gets. But they stemmed the bleeding, but they just couldn't really do much offensively.
Yeah, it's such a disappointment. I went to a bar to watch the game with some friends who aren't as quite as dedicated as me, and it was just miserable to watch. I was the only person in the bar with a Flyers jersey on. I stuck out like a traffic cone. That's what orange will get you. Getting booed off the ice at the home opener, that is
classic Philadelphia right there.
Quintessential Philadelphia experience. So I'm glad Jet Luchenko and Matvei Michkov have been able to experience that right out the gate. Now they know where the expectations lie.
Yes, exactly.
No, it was a depressing game. It just fizzled. It was such a dud.
Yeah, but it really was. It does. And, the expectations maybe shouldn't change after that, but their betting odds have changed. You can check them out at Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup breakdown, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games, with the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, World Series, NHL, NBA to political props. And when the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet online, the game starts here. Yeah, so I was feeling angry, frustrated, I guess. That's why I titled this Layers of Flyers Frustration, because there's a few different things to go with here. Like Saturday night after the game, I was frustrated with the team. But
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, digesting it more, it was more frustrated with myself getting kind of my hopes up for this team. Like this team, like there should not be playoff. I should not, I'm not expecting the playoffs, but like I'd be happy if they made the playoffs. I want them to be a good team. I don't want to be looking at, okay, where can they bottom out? Can they get top 5? They're going to get top 10. Like, I don't want to be talking about the tank. And most importantly, I want to see these players play well. It's a bad schedule spot. They were in Seattle until Friday, I think, and Vancouver was already in the Eastern time zone. So they kind of had the travel advantage there, the Canucks did. But that was the thing. It's like, okay, you got to take a step back and be like, the expectations for this team are not playoffs. Like last year, they did overperform. And even if they might be better on paper with Michkov over Atkinson, you're still missing Sean Walker, and you're missing Nick Seeler, who is somehow the keystone to this defense. Like he's going to be back Tuesday night. Everything went well with him at practice, so you got him back with Drysdale, York and Sanheim, Zamula and Risto, and Eric Johnson rightfully back to the press box where he should be. Hopefully he'll get to 1,000 games this year, but we can maybe wait for that in March or April and not in December. So getting Seeler back is good. And it's also about finding the right matchups for these players, finding mix and match and who it is. But it's not Ryan Poehling and Matt Michkov. It's not.
What if it is?
What if it is?
What if it is?
What if it is? What's the saying? Like that player can like stick handle in a phone booth. I don't know how. And I hate this because Ryan Poehling is a great fourth line player. Very underrated last year. Love him on the PK. But playing him on the second line, he's going to get hate that he doesn't deserve. It's hate more towards John Tortorella and towards the front office and just the whole situation of not having centers. Like you can't blame him for Sean Couturier taking a nosedive after his injuries. Or
yeah,
I wanted to see them keep Frost and Michkov together. I thought that was a duo that was working, and it was elevating Frost's game while Michkov was learning the ropes.
I think they'll go back to Frost at some point. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the way that Poehling plays, he's really good he should be really good at zone entries. He should be really good at speeding through defenders and gaining the zone. Guess what Matvei Michkov is not that good at? Gaining the zone. But once you get him in there, he sets up shop and goes to town. If Ryan Poehling is able to get the Flyers into the offensive zone and get set up so that Michkov can work his magic, fine. And if it doesn't work, they'll go back. I really just don't have the energy to be mad about Ryan Poehling playing with Michkov in practice. They haven't even done this in a game.
They practice for the game, Joe. They're not. It's not going to be like, oh, we wanted to throw the Capitals off by throwing Ryan Poehling on the second line.
I mean,
you weren't around for first line center Valtteri Filppula in the playoffs, Joe. You don't know you kind of were 2020. Nate Thompson playing way too much. Derek Grant, like
they're the same player.
Yeah, but they're the same player, yeah. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of at right now, and we can go over the lines. Let me pull them back up here because it still looks like it should be a decent hockey team. We said before the year it's a good hockey team here. Here's a tweet on YouTube. Flyers at practice from Jordan Hall. Scott Lawton was not present due to apparently his wife is about to give birth. So you have Forster, Frost, Konechny.
Okay.
Tippett, Poehling, Michkov.
Okay.
Farabee, Couturier, Brink. He's
back at center. He's back at center. I like that line.
I really like that line. Farabee's good either way. Couturier's defensive, Brink's offensive, kind of cancels out. Then you have Delorier, Cates, Hathaway. I'm assuming Delorier is holding the spot for Lawton, but you never know against Tom Wilson and the Capitals. And then Jet Luchenko as the extra.
Yeah. I think Delorier is getting his first game, one of these two. I'd imagine it's the home game, but maybe he'd do it at the away game because they more expect the Caps to put on a show in front of their home crowd. I don't know. I think he's getting a game.
I could see him. If you're gonna get him in one of these games, I think you do it at home, get the
Mhm.
crowd back pumped up, get something going, and this is gonna it's gonna I have a feeling it's gonna be an ugly game on Tuesday because, like, as much as the fans wanna say points don't matter, like, these if the if the Flyers wanna make the playoffs, which is the goal of every hockey team, these are 2 huge games for them. Like, this is 4 points against someone they're gonna be fighting for a playoff spot with in the Capitals. This is
Right.
their first meeting since the last game of the year, obviously, where the Capitals advanced to the playoffs at the Farg. So the Flyers are gonna be jumped up for this
Well, hey,
one.
wait. What happened to the Capitals once they got to the playoffs, Gilbs?
I mean, I think they have the same number of wins as the Flyers and you
They
and
had
I
the
in the
exact
playoffs.
same number
So,
of wins as the Flyers had in the
like,
playoffs.
wouldn't you have enjoyed playoff hockey and just 4 games of agony and getting our asses kicked by the
Nope.
Rangers? No, you wouldn't have liked that?
Nope. I would have been real mad.
Yeah.
Look, part of this, like, if they're gonna be bad this year, I'm just gonna accept it. And if they're bad because A, their goalie situation is not great, and B, the players just accidentally can't remember how to play hockey for a season. We've seen it before with the Colorado Avalanche. An accidental tank is a great way to get great talent. Like, you look at the 2017 draft where they picked Makar, they weren't trying to be a bad team. They had Nate McKinnon and Gabe Landeskog and
Mhm.
probably some other guys who would not be considered bad players, and they stumbled ass backwards into a fourth overall pick. It's kind of like the Flyers in 21-22. They were trying to be good, and then they picked fifth overall. Like, I don't know. This you want to rebuild, and especially one that is going to be one with losing. This is how it happens. Like, there's going to be pain.
Yeah, there has to be pain for there to be pleasure at the end. You have to go through the grinds and the lows to get there. And yeah, the Flyers right now trying to see where they could bottom out at. Like, here's the current point projections from Money Puck here on the screen here on YouTube. You got the Sharks. Sharks, Blue Jackets are in the bottom two. Like, no one's
Mm-hmm.
touching them. Then you have the Ducks and Blackhawks right around 75. You go up to 80, you got the Canadians, 81 Flyers, 81 Pittsburgh, and then up to 85 St. Louis. So they're what, sixth worst there? Like, they could be worse than the Canadians. They could be as bad as the Blackhawks. But my thing is, I don't John Tortorella is not gonna let this team tank. Sam Ersson, as long as he gets proper rest, is not gonna let this team tank.
No.
And that's gonna be another, playoff bubble type of situation. But yeah, if they can bottom out bottom five, sure, go for it. But also, they're not going to be trading at the deadline. They don't have guys they can trade away. So, like, it's not going to be
Nope.
like, okay, they're underperforming. Let's get some more draft picks. It's going to be, okay, they're underperforming. How can we kind of move these players around to get the maximum potential for them?
Yeah. I Yeah, as long as they don't run Ersson into the ground again, and I don't think they will. They realize their mistake from last season.
Yeah.
I Torts will not let this team tank. But if he can't buy a save, that's just kind of how it's going to go. He said at the beginning of the season, the goaltending scares the shit out of
Mhm.
me. He knows that that's the weakness, and if the goaltending's bad, he's probably just going to be like, "Well, I saw this coming. Like, I knew this was going to happen. We didn't go out and get a proven backup to help Ersson. So he I have to imagine he's going to hate losing this much, but he is prepared to lose because he knows that the weakest link on the team is the goaltending.
Yeah, and that's every team. If goaltending is make or break for every team, and yeah, I mean, by the eye test, if you watch the Sam Ersson has looked great. Like, you can't fault him for any of the losses. Like, I feel like most of the goals he's given up, you can't really fault him for. When you look at his numbers, 299 goals against, 894 save percentage. You're like, oh, that's bad. But no, he's been
It's
good
been
for what
real
he's
good.
been dealing with, especially with the defense in front of him. But yeah, I mean, we should have similar expectations this year as we did going into last year, which was, have some fun at games, have some fun watching hockey again, get some excitement here and there, extra a little bit more of excitement with Michkov, but there's a possibility of losing more than you want, and
Yeah.
hopefully That's just a part of the process. I've got a comment here from Mike Johnson on Facebook. It's supposed to be a great draft class. I'd rather see a focus on development as opposed to wins. Not sure this coach is capable of coaching that way.
So I am going to push back on that. I feel like Torts has done a fantastic job with development. You look at, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but Rasmus Ristolainen, BSH editor Thomas Williams tweeted out a chart earlier of Ristolainen's development over the past couple years. It's shocking. Travis Konechny has turned into a great player. Morgan Frost is finally sticking at an NHL center role. Tyson Forrester looks pretty damn good. Yeah, there it is. The Renaissance.
Yeah. Like, and if you can't see this is first pair level up here, and that's where Risto is this year. Last year, second pair, 29 was his SG, I guess that is, but like it's whatever it is.
It's
yeah.
So
yeah, he's second pair last year, wasn't healthy for half of it, and he's looked good this year. Zamula hasn't looked great next to him, but you see here Risto so far playing at a top pair level.
He's not scoring, but you don't have to be a scorer to be a top pair defenseman. Like Jacob Slavin with the Canes, you know, he makes his bread and butter on his defensive play. I loved seeing the 21-22 season, just the season from hell, and how absolutely abysmally bad he was.
Yeah,
and then they gave him the 5-year contract after that year. And then the third pair towards his first year, and then second pair. Look, he's not going to be here when this team is relevant again. But Cam York might be, and he's turning into a much better player than maybe we expected. Travis Sanheim had a really good year last season until he got hurt. Who else? Nick Seeler. Oh my God, they just gave him a 4-year contract because he looked like a really good defenseman. There are players on this roster that I think he has done a great job with. So I think the positives outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any players you can point out and be like, okay, he's ruined them or had like a negative impact on them.
Kevin Hayes.
Well, he's Kevin Hayes, William Gauthier.
Brink.
Look, going up and down the roster like Bobby Brink, maybe, but he is what he is. He's an offensive player. He is tied for the team lead in points with 4. Like he's doing what he's supposed to do. It's just, kind of the team around him there. So
Owen Tippett turned into a 30-goal scorer under Torts.
Well, not if he fucking shoots 5 feet wide every time, which is it's getting annoying.
He'll figure it out.
He'll come around. It's 5 games. Like it's 5 games. But we could stay on this Torch train and go to a great article written today by Cole Keller on broadsthockey.com. Make sure you like and subscribe, saying Sean Couturier does not deserve a demotion. And yeah, he doesn't. Like, Sean Couturier has not been treated fairly whatsoever by John Tortorella. He finally got back in his good graces, apparently enough, to be named the captain while the team was going downhill, while the goalie was being ran into the ground, while the defense was completely banged up, while Sean Couturier himself was completely banged up. And then he goes to healthy scratch him multiple times without telling him. And now in the home opener, apparently Couturier found out a few hours before the game he would be playing 4th line left wing. So, I don't know if there's like a larger thing to this. Like, is it like, okay, is Torts challenging Coots? Is Torts challenging the locker room? Like, I mean, I'm sure we'll see how it plays out, but right now there's a lot of ways this could go.
I kind of have to wonder if Torts' view of a captain is like, you are wearing every hat, and you're going to have to get comfortable wearing every hat. That's just part of it. Like, you're going to have to play wherever you are needed to play. And
I get that, but not for a Selke Trophy winning center. Like,
that was years ago. He's not the same player. Look, I don't want to be the negative Nancy here. We keep bringing up the Selke Trophy. He's not that player anymore.
He's not. No, he's not.
We just have to accept that. And saying you're putting your Selke winner on the 4th line, and it's like, no, he's not a Selke contender anymore. I mean, he could surprise us. I would love that. That'd be great. But I mean,
he's 6th on the team in expected goals for percentage at 49.72. Only 5 players are above 50%. Like, he's playing fine. I don't think he's been bad. He's
No.
obviously a step behind some players, but that's going to happen. Still has his defensive prowess. Still great on the PK. Like he's still a thing. And yeah, I don't want to focus on the Selke Trophy thing, but I want to focus on the captain thing. Like you didn't have to name a captain. You went out of your way to name him captain when, like, realistically, yeah, he deserved it. But if he's going to be treated like this, don't name a captain and then wait and give TK the seat. Like do something like that where you're putting this extra pressure on Couture for no reason. And I thought you were going to go this way when you said, wear a bunch of hats. Is like, I think it's been said about this. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady would always ride him the hardest. He's like, oh, if Brady can deal with it, the other players are going to deal with it too. And that kind of takes some more communication from Torch to Couture, which apparently hasn't been there. But maybe that's just how Torch does things. And he has said that no player is above anybody else; they're all treated the same. So I can kind of see both sides there.
Yeah, I think they'll work it out. Like, I mean, Coots is going to be here, but I think ultimately his role is going to be 3C. Like
that's fine. I like him 3C right now with Farabee and Brink. Farabee and
I
Brink
like that.
Have a good connection. That's a good third line. That's a good third line.
It could even be a second line if Farabee gets his shit together and Brink also.
Yeah.
Well, look. I say they got to get their shit together. Everybody on the team needs to get their shit together. None of them look like they are like in sync or anything.
The funny thing is that it's 5 games, and if they somehow go out and sweep this back-to-back, even if they don't look fantastic, if they get 2 back-to-back wins, like everyone's gonna be like, okay, this is great. This is back again. Like that's how easy it is to overreact here early in the year.
And again, I don't give a shit about the lines on a day-to-day basis or a game-to-game basis. If they lock in with Paling as the 1C with Michkov and Konechny, then I might have some problems. But if it's just for a game, who the fuck cares? It's October. We have, 77 more games to go? 76?
Is that a threat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a threat. Hey, it could be more if they actually do make the playoffs. But
yeah,
again, we say they overperformed last season. Kind of. But everybody else around them underperformed dramatically, and that made them look better than they actually were. I don't expect to get that lucky again this year.
Luck was a big part of it, I think. And like you have to think about the injury luck too. Like, yeah, sure, in the second half dealt with some Sanheim injuries.
You had 2 1A goaltenders for half a season.
Yeah.
You stopped having that. Season fell apart. Guess what? You only have 1 1A goaltender this season, and you've got three AHL goalies. Nope. 3 AHL. And Cal Peterson.
Ivan Fedotov has me missing Cal Pete. To bring Cal Pete back up. Give him a shot. He earned that contract somehow. Like he's gotta have some flashes in there.
I kind of want to see Makanyemi too. He looked okay in camp. I'd kind of be interested to see what he is. But yeah, no, it's. Do you want to talk? I've seen a lot of people saying should have traded for Askarov on Twitter and like comment sections. Do you want to talk about that since we're on the subject of goalies?
We can talk about Askarov. Yeah, people are like, I was firmly on that train. I wanted the Flyers to take the swing at Askarov,
and they did reportedly. They were apparently involved.
Yeah, but we've gone over this. But for new listeners, the Predators got a center, David Edstrom, a first-round pick, and then quad A goalie prospect Magnus Krona.
Great
for Askarov, Nolan Burke, and a third.
Nolan Burke is a nothing. That was just a contract.
So we're saying like Flyers equivalent would have been like a first, either the Avs or the Oilers one, or maybe some conditional one, a Bonk type prospect, and then like one of the goalies, maybe Kolosov, maybe
Bjarnason.
I guess Kolosov. No, I think that one. Yeah, but like I feel like that would have been worth it. I feel like Bonk may have a similar ceiling to this, but you shouldn't be surprised by that. Don't give me that face. Like I was all aboard the
no, you were.
Yeah, Askarov trade.
I wouldn't make that deal. I wouldn't make that deal.
That's fair. That's the sign of a good trade. Like if half people do it, half people wouldn't. That's like, and there's a bunch of unknowns at every position, and the issue is at goalie, there's only 2 spots. At defenseman, there's 6. So there's more wiggle room there for Bonk to become an NHL player, and Askarov can just turn into nothing to be the anti-Bob, where the Flyers traded away Bob, and he won multiple Vezinas, and they traded for Askarov, and he just shits the bed. But yeah, so you still don't think you would have done that?
No. I think that's too much.
I'm trying to think
Look,
a good comparison for Bonk. Maybe like a 𝙏𝙒𝙗𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙏 or like a Emil
No.
Andre who
Edstrom,
didn't get it crack the fucking lineup.
Nope. Edstrom is like a very well-regarded prospect. Like he's currently he projects as a middle six center right now with some higher upside.
Yeah.
I like you would need a high pedigree prospect. 𝙏𝙗𝙗𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙏 and Andre don't fit that bill. And this isn't like the NHL games where you just throw like 4 unproven.
Just keep moving the bar up and up.
Yeah, exactly.
Add a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick to get the.
Let's throw 𝙏𝙗𝙗𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙏, let's throw Andre, let's throw Brink and a first. Oh, there we got there. Let's do it.
And I've said it before. I think I saw that the Predators reportedly had their eye on Edstrom since he was drafted or since he got drafted by the Knights.
They really liked him.
So like the fact you probably couldn't beat that offer even if you offered Bonk and 𝙏𝙗𝙗𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙏 and you think that's an overpay, they probably wouldn't do that because they wanted a center, which
they wanted Edstrom.
Makes sense because I mean their number 1 center right now is Ryan O'Reilly, so they want someone there. I got a shout out from someone named Jason Polinsky here in the chat.
Taking a third.
Maybe could have got it done. You never know. You
got it done.
You got to try. You got to be in it to win it there.
No, and Nashville needs a center. They don't have one on their second line. Ryan O'Reilly is their best center.
Back to the question: would, in hindsight, would you trade? What would you do for Askarov? A 1st round pick and who?
Oh boy,
a 1st and 𝙏𝙗𝙗𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙏?
I'd do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right. I'm trying to see where on the crazy scale this galaxy brain Joe D take is.
I think a 1st and Bonk and something else of like mid to high level value. I think that's just too much for an unproven goalie prospect. Highly touted, highly regarded, but unproven.
Yeah.
I just that's not. I'd rather go after a center than I would go after a goalie prospect because the Flyers have Ersson now, and he looks like he's real good. And in the pipeline, they've got Zvragin, who is fucking awesome as a 19-year-old in the KHL. He's many years away, which is fine. But Askarov seems like, we need to compete now. This is something that we want to be competitive in the next year or two. But they've told us the entire time this is going to take a few years.
We just don't listen, Joe. We don't listen to that kind of stuff.
I am. This fan base has been begging for a slow rebuild for years, and now they're finally getting it. It's like, why is the team bad? And it's like, well, this is part of it. What did you expect them to go to the playoffs and get a high draft pick as a part of it? Like, this is we've seen this happen with Chicago and San Jose. You're going to be bad. That's how you get picks.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm just a crazy logical one, I guess.
Yeah, it's no fun to be logical. No fun to be logical, Joe. It's a horrible time having rational, level-headed takes. Come on, you can't do that on here.
That's why I don't have many Twitter followers. I don't have enough. I don't have enough crazy unhinged takes.
You don't hear enough either.
You don't hear enough.
You don't hear enough. You don't hear the rumblings.
No.
All right. I want to get back to what the lines looked like today, and also how I want to do how I would do the lines here. So I Forster, Frost, Michkov would be my top line. I think keep Frost and Michkov together. Forster's great defensively, can shoot, can help be set up for Michkov. Second line, Tippett, Luchenko, Konechny, or once you send Luchenko down, put Lawton there. Like you've seen Lawton and Konechny do well on the PK.
Mr. 2 goals.
Tippett can fly the zone.
Shout out Scott Lawton.
Farabee, Coots, Brink's third line, perfect third line. I love that.
Love it.
And then Lawton, Palin, Cates, Hathaway, 3 of those guys in the fourth line. Yeah, Delorier in there. Like that, I think would be 3 second lines there, and then a fourth line, which I think would be decent for the Flyers. Like you can roll 3, whatever matchup's working, whatever. But I don't want to see Palin near Michkov at 5-on-5 or on the power play. He's not with Michkov on the power play. But he's on the power play for some reason.
But Gilbs, what if it works?
Ryan Poehling is not skilled. He's just not. He's fast. He's good defensively. He has a good stick. good away from the puck.
He doesn't.
Maybe he's my only thing I could see with putting him with Michkov is like tell him, okay, play a basic center game, two-way hockey, stay in the slot, wait for a pass from Michkov, and just try to jam it on net.
Again, I think it's zone entries. He's fast. He can gain the zone. It's something that he can carry the puck in. Not a lot of other people on the team seem to be able to do that all that well. I've seen too much chip and chase, especially on the power play. I'm like, guys, you have one extra guy. Just carry the puck into the zone.
We got to get our non-existent producer researcher on this zone entry stats for Poehling.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just yapping. I don't know.
I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
It seems that way. He has that kind of game. It's 𝙏𝙒𝙖𝙏𝙏𝙏𝙏. I know is really good at it. 𝙏𝙒𝙏𝙏𝙏 can do that.
Flyers. Where is? Let me highlight a player. Poehling.
Pales.
Average. He's average. Let me share this tab here, and I'll from all three zones. Great website to research here. Here's Ryan Poehling over the past 3 years. Canadians, Penguins, Flyers. Like he's carrying percentage just over 50%. Zone entry per 60, 16, right pretty much almost smack dab in the middle for the podcast listeners there.
Can you highlight only the Flyers and only... Yeah. All right.
Flyers. I'll do Flyers last year.
Yeah.
There's the Flyers last year. You got Tippett up here. You got Farabee. Poehling right here in the middle.
Yep.
With, Scott Lawton, Hathaway, Brink, Forster, Victoria. I guess this is Konechny. Yeah. So Tippett, Farabee, and Konechny is really the three guys that can do it. Everyone else is a little bit below average here.
Yep. But guess what? Tippett and Konechny are on the same power play. So who's the one?
This is also 5-on-5, but I do want to discuss the power play because the power play had a few good shifts in the home opener against the Canucks. A few good chances, inch here or there. Maybe they scored, but like after I forgot how many they had, but like after their first or second one, it just got to the point where I missed the dump and chase. Like at least dump and chase it in, and like you can battle for it in the corner. Because it seemed like they were just, kind of trying to chip it in off the wall.
Yep.
Making plays to space, and they were gassed. They were completely exhausted. They were not winning battles. Like at least get the puck in deep. Maybe you get a bounce. Maybe something weird happens. But it was just like they were playing from their own goal line to the opposing, face-off dots, and that's it. They weren't getting in deep at all.
It felt like they were switching their units pretty quickly too. Like when I watch other teams with very good power plays, they've got their first unit out there for like a minute and a half, maybe. Flyers were switching them out after it felt like a minute. Like it felt like they weren't giving the first unit a ton of time on the ice. And a big reason they were doing that is because they were chipping and chasing and losing those puck battles, and then the puck spurted out. And like you said, somebobody's got to go get that puck. Guess what? It's tiring to go back all the way down the ice and then skate it back in. Yeah, I don't know. It was so hot for 4 games. Will they ever score on the power play again?
But yeah, speaking of the power play, here are the units on from Monday's practice. Top unit remains the same, I'm pretty sure. Drysdale, Frost, Konechny, Michkov, and Tippett. The second unit is Zamula, Ryan Poehling, Sean Couturier, Bobby Brink, and Joel Farabee. So there is no Tyson Forster. There is no Jet-Luchenko, who appears to be a healthy scratch, at least for Tuesday. So I guess good to see Couturier on there. Maybe put him in front, but that's just, I don't know. I'd rather see Forster out there. I don't know if I like Zamula at the point either, but
who else would you put there?
York, Sanheim, like either of those guys. Maybe they want to keep both of them rested so that the top pair is ready after the power play. But like,
I mean,
I'd rather try to score in the power play when you have a man advantage.
I mean, Zamula's best flashes last season were on the power play. So
yeah, his best flash came when no one knew where the puck was against the Senators, and he just threw it on net. That was his best flash.
That was so funny. God, that would be a perfect moment for those weird NHL highlight sequences they post.
Shout out Weird NHL, yeah.
Shout out Weird NHL.
Yeah.
But even that one aside, he was the only one who ever seemed to have like some flash on a power play unit last season. So I don't know how much more leash they'll give him. I'm surprised they're changing up the units so early because apparently Rocky Thompson told Torts, "Don't fuck with my units," and now they're doing it. So,
well, I mean, if Luchenko's not going to be there, they have to figure out something. And I guess rather than just changing one guy, they switched to change two. I think I also said a few guys are banged up. So like maybe Forster's going to be there in a game, but like who knows? Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if the top unit gets the job done, then we're not really going to be seeing the second unit too much. Like I want to see the top unit out there. Yeah, like you said, it was way too short of shifts on Saturday, but they couldn't get set up. They can't win a face-off. They can't enter the zone. Like it was a mess.
Yep, sure was.
Speaking of the 18-year-old Jet Luchenko, what are we thinking of him now after seeing him for 2 more games? Where do we stand on the keep up, send down debate after 9 games? You look very. I removed the wrong thing. I
thought that was on my end, considering all the camera problems I usually have.
How are you feeling about Jet? You still want him to go down after 9?
I'm still on team send him back.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if this is his last week with the team. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they send him down tomorrow. Like he get him, maybe got one last practice in today. Make sure Lawton's good to go tomorrow, and then send him back down. Like I mean, I could see that happening.
I think
they said 5 games. They
5
said
games tomorrow.
5 games. Yep.
Tomorrow's 5. Well, tomorrow's game 6, but it'll be Luchenko's 5th if
you
play
him.
Play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think by maybe the end of the week, maybe, and if he's still here next week, he might be here for the long haul. But they have 2 backpacks, 2 back-to-backs this week. Thanks, schedule makers. So
yeah,
they haven't played him in the first back-to-back because they're like, oh, he's new. We don't want to gas him too much. So maybe he only gets 2 games this week.
Yeah, could see that. Maybe they do keep him up for this week. He gets Wednesday's game and then gets one of the weekend back-to-backs at home. But like, what is Noah Cates done wrong to be the odd man out every game? Like he's played 1 game. He played the game in Calgary, or did he play a second one? I think just 1. And like
I think just 1.
He was good. He's strong defensively. Like he's not going to have giveaways. Like he's not going to put your team in a bad position. Like I know they don't want to play scared or play safe or whatever, but I would like to see them rotate him in.
He's going to get games, especially if Luchenko gets sent back down. I don't think it's that anyone's upset with him or they're mad about how he's playing. It's just a numbers game. Like,
yeah,
they need, who would they take out? Paling? They need centers, and they found out last season that Cates can't play center. They moved him back to the wing. Scott Lawton
leads the team in expected goals for percentage at 54.67.
Scooty Lutz, he's having himself a comeback season.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to play himself right out of Philadelphia.
They're not going to trade him at this point. It's too late. It's too late.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess Cates will get in when or if Jet Luchenko goes back down. I think they have to send him back down at 9. I think the financial implications of the salary cap in a few years is worth, whatever extra you think you're going to get out of developing him at the NHL level. And the issue is, if you play him more than 9 games, like let's say it gets to World Juniors time, you send him back, and like he's not kicking at the NHL level. Like, okay, you're going to send him back to juniors as well and waste the year of the entry level contract while not getting a full year of him with the NHL. Like, I feel like it's just too much risk. Like the expectations this year should be, get his feet wet, see what he needs to work on, work with him via video, and send him back down.
Didn't they do that with Lucas Pisa?
Lucas Pizza?
Didn't they burn his contract and then send him back?
We don't have one of the olds on the pod right now. I think Steve would know that. I don't know if JPo's still listening, but he might know that. I think he's a big fan of pizza. I'm not sure if he's a big fan of Luca Pizza. But yeah, I mean that's definitely possible for them to do that. But I'm also kind of looking at these lines that they have together at practice as potentially John Tortorella saying, this is the future without Luchenko. If we don't have Luchenko, I need a speedy center, and Paling's going to be playing with Michkov. Like, I don't know if that's a message like he's saying kind of to Briere and Jonesy, like, if you take my shiny toy away from me, this is what's going to happen. But the shiny toy hasn't. I mean, he's been good. I'm not going to.
For an
talk negatively about
18-year-old,
him. Yeah.
For an 18-year-old, he's done fantastic, but it's not good enough to warrant the roster spot quite yet. Also, I don't think Briere and Jones give a shit about Torts being like, well, this will be what happens if you take away my shiny toy. They'll be like, this is why you're here. Deal with it.
Yeah, coach the team we give you, and that's what he would do. That's what he's doing for these lines for Tuesday night.
We don't even know if he's going to run these lines, and even if it is just for one night, I don't care.
What if
it's one night?
What if Paling is just a placeholder for Lawton, and then this whole time we're just complaining about Paling and Michkov, and then I'd be fine with that. I mean, that was my.
You'd rather have Scott Lawton on the power play than Ryan.
Not
Paling.
on the power play. The power play is what kind of pokes a hole in that theory. But
hey, Lawton has 2 goals.
He was on the top unit at some point in the past few years. I mean, that's not a shining endorsement, but like he was.
Yeah. That's why the Flyers finished real bad.
Maybe they wanted Paling in his spot to have a left-handed forward there. Like, and if Lawton can't go, that's where Paling's going to be. That could be it. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see on Tuesday.
Sure will.
Is
that enough? Is that enough bitching and complaining about this team?
No, never, Joe. Why? What do you want to move on to?
Just the rest of the league.
All right. No, yeah, we're planning on recording Thursday after the back-to-back Thursday at 5. As long as enough things happen, there's enough to talk about. So we won't go too long on the Flyers this time. We've already gone 45 minutes. So
there's only been 2 games.
I've pushed your around the league segment towards the end here, but we can get into it here, Joe. What are you seeing?
Is there any last things you want to say about the Flyers' two clunkers?
No, and if I think of it, I'll do it.
We'll do it. All right.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 teams that remain winless: the San Jose Sharks, as one might expect, and the Nashville Predators, who are 0-5 to start the season.
Yeah.
Yikes, dude! Like, look, I know there's a lot of new faces, but it shouldn't be that bad. And what happened to you, Saros? You just signed this guy for 8 years and traded away Askarov. Like,
Yeah, the Preds were a very popular team to buy in the offseason. In the betting markets, everyone was like their Stanley Cup odds came way down over the offseason. And now I think they're like even money to make the playoffs. Like they're 0-5. Losses to Dallas, it's a good team. At Detroit, not a good team. Seattle, not a good team. Edmonton, a good team. And then Detroit at home, not a good team.
Let's say Seattle. They got their doors blown off.
Yeah,
like, it was
that was not good.
Shellacking. Like it wasn't even close. Maybe it'll come together.
Well, looking at their schedule, they have Boston on Tuesday night, so that's a tough one. Then after that, at Chicago, and then at home against Columbus. So if they're winless through 8 there, maybe they start to worry. But
yeah,
if they even lose to Boston, then win the back-to-back Chicago, Columbus, they're 2-6. Like they're on the right path.
Yeah. Also, the Avs and Oilers, they finally got their wins. They are both 2-4, I believe, right now.
Yeah, the Avs scratched out a win against the Ducks, I believe, in overtime. Outshot them 49-20 there, but struggled to get the win there in Colorado. And then at San Jose, a little bit of easier time, 4-1 win there.
Yeah.
Ross Colton has been great on the top line, top power play in it for the Avalanche. So not sure if you mentioned him in your fantasy article. I haven't read it yet, but he's on my team, my 2-0 team in the BSH league. So I can shout him out.
Yeah. Hey, I won last week. Finally, it took long enough. I don't remember if I shouted out Ross Colton. I don't think I did because the Avs didn't have like a schedule that was.
You look at the schedule, like the off days. Yeah, that's.
I look at who's playing 4 games and who's playing a bunch of off days.
Yeah.
But no, Ross Colton, if you're in fantasy, he's a great choice to stream. Jonathan Drouin is still out, and Rantanen and Lehkonen and Nichushkin are all still out.
Yeah.
They got to play McKinnon with someone. So might as well be Ross Colton.
Yeah, Cale Makar is tied for the league with 12 points too. It's him, Artemi Panarin, and Sam Reinhart.
He's on my fantasy team,
showing up,
and I love that.
There you go.
We all hail Cale. But that's a good sign. It means they're probably not going to be in the basement, which means their protected first-round draft picks are still going to go to the Flyers. Maybe they'll be in the teens instead of the 20s, though, which would be a nice little gift for the Flyers.
Maybe, yeah. That Central is looking. I mean, Utah still 4-1-1 there. I mean, that we'll see. We'll see if that's really for real. I mean,
maybe Nashville gets its shit together. Maybe Nashville gets its shit together.
Nashville has to get its shit together.
They have to. I like Andrew Burnett as a coach. I think he did a lot of good work with the Panthers when he took over for Quenneville, and then again as an assistant coach in New Jersey. And I think we saw it happen last year, where the first half of the season was kind of hit and miss, and then after the canceled U2 concert, they just went on a fucking heater. Like, maybe that's just going to happen again this year, minus the concert. They're just going to go on a heater. Yeah,
I mean, I think the Preds will definitely progress to the mean, as will Utah. They'll probably switch spots in a few weeks, but yeah, they got to get their act together pretty soon. Flames still hot, 4-0-1.
Yep.
Kraken 4-2 out there in the Pacific. Yeah, the Sharks 0-4-2. Macklin Celebrini on IR. Tough times in San Jose.
Brutal guy. Yeah. Hey, at least our rookie star gets to be here. It works great for his. We can transition into this. The Calder watch. If Macklin Celebrini is out, it means Michkov has a better chance. Oh, also, speaking of Calder watch, how many points does one William Gauthier have so far this season, Gilbs?
I think he has more benchings than points this year. I don't think he has one yet, does he?
No, we have the same number of points as William Gauthier.
Yeah.
And
we haven't been benched. We have not been benched in an NHL game this year, so we're better than him. Did you see Winnipeg chanting about Rutger when the Penguins played there? I think it was yesterday, so you may have missed it. But
I watched that game.
You watched that game? Yeah,
sure did.
They were chanting, "Where's Rutger at?" and like all this type of stuff. So
he was in the AHL.
January 11th. It's gonna be a fun time at the Farg.
Ooh, baby. Oh my God! Can you imagine if they bench him? The Ducks bench him against the Flyers.
Philly flu.
Love it. Yeah. Is Michkov still the favorite to win the Calder?
I believe he is. I was pulling up the stats here. He is the favorite. You can get him as high as +210. You have Stankoven at +350, and then Lane Hudson at +650 there, and then a Golf and Celebrini, Gauthier, Will Smith, Dustin Wolf still an option there, but
goalies never win.
Yeah, goalies don't win. Looking at the rookie points here, Logan Stankoven has 7 assists in 6 games. Matvei Michkov has 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 games, and Lane Hudson has 4 assists in 6 games. I don't think Lane Hudson is on the top power play unit yet, which will definitely help his chances.
I think Matheson is injured, maybe, or might be day to day. So
I saw he was day to day, but I think he's going to be back for the next game. I heard Friedman. Heard last week that Lane Hudson could take a real run at this thing.
Sure could.
Montreal media is probably a bigger one if they don't have to give it to a Russian, they're not going to. We saw that last year with Kucherov, so you got that to factor in. Michkov's still up there in the Calder. Just he hasn't scored in 2 games though. What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, bust. Well, let's talk busts. Have you watched Alexis Lafreniere so far this season?
I have not. Is he doing well?
Looks damn good. Good.
Is he playing on that line with Panarin?
I think he is still. Yeah.
He was a bust for. Yeah, he has 6 points in 5 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. So looking pretty good. Top line there with Trocheck and Panarin. Trocheck is underrated too. There, he's been great in New York.
He's been dynamite. Mm-hmm. What happened to Zibanejad?
He's too busy DJing. On the side.
I love Nika Zibanejad. I think he's a hilarious dude. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we predict our our scores for this
Oh.
the caps to back, the back to caps,
the
home and home.
Home and home here. Yeah, I got the Tuesday night game to kick off the Frozen Frenzy at 6 p.m. on ESPN. Then the Wednesday game, only game on the slate, only teams playing a back-to-back on Wednesday on TNT in DC at 7:30. Love those 7:30 starts. That becomes 7:50 starts through the national broadcast here.
Better than the 10 p.m. starts.
It is better than 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. It could be the other way, like it was last year.
Ugh.
I'm saying the Flyers get 3 points out of these two games. Both games go to overtime because why not? It's going to be 3-2 in a shootout at home on Tuesday night.
Yep.
And then 4-3 loss on Wednesday. Oh no, Fedotov starting Wednesday might not get to overtime. Wednesday might be like a 5-3 loss, something like that.
I'm saying Wednesday 6-3 loss. But I'm gonna agree with you on the home game. 3-2 shootout win. I think that's the ticket. I want to see Ersson in the shootouts. I love it. I want to see him stone Alex Ovechkin.
Yes. Yeah. You think we get any fights here on Tuesday night?
I don't know. Tom Wilson is scoring so much that he might just be like, hey, fuck you, I'm not fighting. I'm going to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Nick Steeler's not going to fight in his first game back, although he could. That'd be very, very Nicky Nails of him.
Welcome back, Nicky.
Hathaway has looked good. Maybe he'll fight. I will say on Saturday night, I don't know if it was just confirmation bias, but like it seemed like every time I looked down on the ice, Hathaway was out there, which, I like him out there. He's a good energy guy, but I don't want to see him out there after commercial breaks. Put your best guys out there. Come on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, I'm just sick of watching Farabee and Couturier drop the gloves. Like, you have guys here for that.
Yeah.
They should be doing that. Not your like presumed scorers. But
it was nice to see Nick Steeler and Nick Deslauriers both get good ovations when they were announcing the healthy scratches for the home opener there.
Were they standing off? Were they standing off
to the side? Yeah. I think someone had a 6 suit on, but it wasn't Michkov's suit. I'll tell you that much. I know there were a lot of
get that kid a Taylor.
Lot of talk about that. Yeah,
get that kid a Taylor. What is this? David Byrne in Stop Making Sense, the big talking heads suit. Come on.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get a fight. I hope. We're both predicting 1-1. Hopefully they can get a good win on home ice and give the fans something to be excited about.
Would be nice. It would be nice. But hey, this is a fuck around and find out season. And if they just lose a bunch and we get a high draft pick, hey, we fucked around and we found out. And I'm not going to be mad about it.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. That's how you got to look at it.
It's all part of the process.
Well, I'm seeing right now, check out broadsthockey.com, read and subscribe there. Some piece from Maddie right now. Flyers home opener loss was a much needed contextualizer, which I feel like it's a good talk. It's like, I haven't read it yet, but I'm just scrolling through it. Like, rebuild still on, played good teams. Will this team be better? Yeah, probably, but it takes some time. Like that's where we got to be at. Like, there should not be great expectation for this team. It's watch and see, and it's on us for putting high expectations on this team if we did, which I did. You may not have, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yep.
All right, make sure you also subscribe to the Broad Street Hockey podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube there as well. We're going live on Twitter and Facebook when we stream as well, so you can make sure you follow us there. Joe, where can people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at JF DeMarini, right there on the screen for anyone who is viewing us. I'm starting to feel like the pull of Blue Sky. Like I should start one.
Yes. Come to the bright side. Come to the bright side.
The blue side. Yeah, I'm just we just need a critical mass of people on Blue Sky for the shift to happen. I just don't feel like having to tweet on both of post, I guess, on both of them, and like that feels weird. I've been posting more on Blue Sky. There are more Flyers people now on Blue Sky. Would you say you've been blue pilled?
No. blue beamed, baby.
Blue bean, oh baby.
Beamed.
But Gilb, speaking of Blue Sky, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Ryan Gilbert, .bluesky.social or whatever, however you do that. I'm currently following 69 people, so don't be
Nice.
offended. Don't be offended if I don't follow you back.
Nice.
Follow me there. You can also follow me on Twitter for now at rgilbertsop. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Shout out Bet Online for sponsoring us. And until next time, thanks for listening.
Go Flyers.